There's a star that lights the road. I take this ride. Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I take it to the edge where I live 1,000 lives. But maybe I could be the one. I ride into the setting sun tonight. Just drive.
Welcome to the F1 show. All eyes remain on Red Bull as the fallout from Malaysia 3 weeks ago continues to develop.
Not only that, but their drivers Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber have locked horns again here in Shanghai.
I never had support from his side.
It's been strained. Again, the relationship, I think it's not the first time.
I respect him a lot as a racing driver. More than one occasions in the past where he could have helped the team and he didn't.
Maybe he was getting you back for a perceived lack of help in Brazil.
You need to go a lot further back than that, mate.
Bottom line is that I was racing, I was faster, I passed him, I won.
At the moment, we'll focus on our own individual performances and go from there.
So I don't apologize.
Would you repeat the same act?
I'd probably do the same.
Good morning to you back home. We're joined now by Johnny Herbert and Red Bull's team principal, Christian Horner. Christian, much to do lately?
It's been a busy couple of weeks, yeah. No, a shame that, you know, after the performance that the team put in at the last race, that seems to have gone unrecognised, but we're glad we're in China and ready to get on with the next race.
I mean, amazing scenes really in the press conference as the driver speaking yesterday. Sebastian completely unapologetic about breaking team orders. Were you happy for him to be like that?
I think the most important thing with both our drivers and what we've always enabled them to do is speak openly with their own thoughts and feelings, and you know, that's been a policy at Red Bull. Sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable, but it's you know what he feels, as you know, Mark has often spoken the way he feels as well, and I think it's nothing new to us. To be perfectly frank, it's something that's existed for the last 4 or 5 years. You know, that they've been teammates. It's just that you guys are aware of it as well now, but does it change things? Not at all for us.
But has Sebastian assured you that he won't be a naughty boy and ignore your team orders again? He won't go against you again, as he told you?
Sebastian knows that he needs the team to achieve the success that he does, and you know, he's apologized to me, he's apologized to the team, he said what he's had to say. That's it. You know, we move on, we focus on this race and look down the road to, and our rivals aren't just in our own garage. They're the Mercedes, they're the Ferraris, they're the Lotuses and McLarens, you know, so, you know, we can't just look inwardly.
Yeah, and Christian, you sort of mentioned about the professional drivers, but have you got any concerns that this will sort of get a little bit personal on track if we get in a similar position like Malaysia?
No, I don't think so. I think that they both know, you know, that they represent the team at the end of the day, that, you know, when they drive these cars, they represent the 600 people within the company and the whole of Red Bull. And, you know, we rely on them, they rely on us. And the problem with Formula One that is difficult sometimes to understand is you've got conflicting objectives. You've got a Constructors' World Championship and you've got a Drivers' World Championship, and sometimes there is conflicting interest between the two, and that's what we had in Malaysia. But our objective in Malaysia wasn't anything to do with the drivers not racing each other. It was purely to manage the concerns we had with the TARs to the end of the race.
We just need some clarification here, though, because it has seemed to go on record that Dietrich Mateschitz said that team orders would be a thing of the past. Are they or not?
Well, I sat down with Dietrich after the race, just he and I discussed it, and he wants to see the drivers race each other, which is, you know, which is fundamentally what we've always tried to do. We saw it even here last year, the drivers going wheel to wheel. He's a purist, he's a fan, and of course Red Bull support athletes around the world, and they want the athletes to compete fairly. Red Bull also own a team in Formula One, and the objective is for the team to win the Constructors' World Championship. So, of course, there's got to be communication and instructions regarding how we operate a race, reliability issues, strategy, tyres, you know, all of those aspects. But what we won't do is interfere with the drivers racing each other. They will have the information and they will know what they're expected to do with that information. Whether they choose to do that, something else, but they will have all the information that they need.
I mean, slightly bigger picture. Firstly, on Sebastian, has he been acting? He's so loved by the team, with good reason. He's won you 3 World Championships in a row. Is it that actually he knows you can't really say no to him? Is he a bit spoiled like that?
No, not at all. I mean, you know, these guys are competitive athletes, and you know, you're managing them all the time, not just in a race. And you know, he is a big team player, as is Mark, and you know, that's what's driven us to the success that we've had. And occasionally it gets lumpy, it gets uncomfortable. But there's others in the pit lane that would, you know, die to have the success that we've had over the last, you know, 4 years. And that's come from both of these guys pushing each other. This rivalry is nothing new to us.
Yeah.
It's something that has been there almost from day one. And so, yes, it's got more media headlines. It's kept Formula One in the news the last few weeks. But for us internally, it is absolutely nothing new.
It's funny because, of course, you know, now we all know that they hate each other. But actually watching them in
Go as far as hate, but I mean, there's
come
a
on.
very strong rivalry. They're not going to be spending the summer holidays together, that's for sure. But it changes nothing. They're still in the briefing room now, talking about improving the car for tomorrow, talking openly, working collectively for the team.
But I was going to say that actually the atmosphere in the garage still seems to be exactly the same. And in racing, they know not to collide, don't they? Because we've been there before in Turkey. They will get the mother and father of all rocketings from you if they collide.
Absolutely. It's totally unacceptable for them to collide. You know, and they won't just be answerable to me, they'll be answerable to the 600 people that give everything, you know, to provide these two cars. They understand that, they know that. They've demonstrated on numerous occasions they can race each other wheel to wheel. You know, occasionally we get situations that are difficult, and you know, the last race in Malaysia, for us, the difficulty was managing those tyres all the way through the race.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's have a look at something that you're absolutely excelling, as well as scoring 43 points for a 1-2 at the moment, and that's pit stops. And you have done a phenomenal job on the pit stops, with the fastest pit stop in Formula One history with a 2.3.
2.05 to be correct. So I don't want to pick you up on it, but they broke the record 4 times.
Okay.
And the fastest of the stop was 0.3 of a second faster than the previous record.
Let's have a look at the graphic. We have to go on the times that we're given.
We go on car data.
I know you do. We have to go on the times. Let's have a look at the graphic. This is what we're actually basing it on, and that's the fastest time of a 2.3, but the average is, and this is using the official timings from FOM, is 2.56 seconds. So congratulations for that. McLaren were behind you on 2.94 and Ferrari on 3 seconds. So if we have a look at the leaderboard, that means that forgetting that world record, you move up into the top. I'm sure you're delighted about that, Christian, of our leaderboard, 22 points to 21. And we also have this massively expensive trophy.
Look at that.
Well, I don't deserve this trophy. You know, Ollie,
It's
who's
going to Ollie.
representing the guys today, he deserves this trophy.
Ollie,
You know,
many
for doing an
congratulations.
unbelievable job.
Thank you so much, Ed.
Before I ask you some specifics about the system, let's have a look at the stop itself.
But this is where they can make the difference, and it looks like the team are only just going to be ready for him, but ready they are. That's where a few tenths are won and lost.
So Sebastian Vettel now stops for what should be his final pit stop. It was fairly neat and tidy as well.
So average of really impressive. And did it feel quick while you were doing it? Did you all know?
I think you always know when it feels quick, because as soon as you look up again, the car's gone. So you don't actually, you breathe in once and you do your job, and as you look up, the car's obviously disappeared. And I normally look back and I can see Christian flick an eye, so that normally works.
Yeah, okay, well, let's have a look at it. This was Mark Webber's second, wasn't it? Mark Webber's second pit stop.
They all felt really much the same, to be honest.
So what have you changed? You've gone to the full traffic light system, whereas last year you had a sort of hybrid, didn't you? You still had
We had a lollipop
with the
last
lollipop,
year,
but
now
they
we've
were
gone
also
to
with the
traffic
lights.
light. But the secret isn't isn't the equipment, it's the dedication. These guys put in hours and hours and hours of practice. You know, they're far fitter than you or I could ever dream to be.
It's not difficult.
And, you know, it's down to the dedication, and it's teamwork at its best. Seeing that synchronized work is fantastic.
Amazing what you can get through in a couple of seconds. But I noticed when we did that pit stop challenge in Korea last year, just how powerful those wheel guns are. And have you upped the power of those? I mean, perhaps that's a question for Ollie.
No, we just routine. We just practice and practice and practice. And I think the key to all of it is consistency. And then you start working into tiny little bits, you know, you can change. And we all talk about it. All the gunmen talk about little bits, what we can do different and what we can try and improve. And that's the key to all of it.
What I was particularly impressed about was how quickly the front jackman got out of the way. Because a lot of the time he can be the deciding factor, can't he? If he's not out of the way, A, he's going to get run over, and B, he's got to really get out of the way. Just have a look at the bottom. Who's doing that? The front jack?
It's a guy called Chris, and he is, if you see, he's very, very built, very strong, because last year in Brazil he almost got run over, but he still stayed on his feet. Yeah. So, you know, you've got to react so quick, and hand-to-eye coordination is a very important factor in pit stops today, because, you know, you've got to simply have the best correction you can have.
Okay, well, it's a new world record.
Very good, yes.
Racing.
Congratulations, thank you, Ollie. Thank you, Christian, for your time.
Thank you very much.
Here's what else we've got coming up on the F1 show tonight. David Croft heads into central Shanghai and garners the opinion of two wise men of F1, Eason and Noble.
How do you run a team where the two drivers don't trust each other and the team principal has no idea whether what he says will be obeyed by either? It just seems to be anarchy as far as I can see.
With all eyes on Red Bull, Rachel Brooks finds out what else we should look out for this weekend, including an update from Sam Michael about what McLaren have been up to in the 3-week break.
Expectations here is just to keep improving. I think we're still on a curve, and there won't be any sort of overnight fixes. It'll always take lots of little things, but we're doing lots of little things, and they're all adding up.
And I speak to Claire Williams about her new deputy team principal role in the family firm.
I'd like to think that I've inherited Dad's work ethic. I think I work hard. I'd like to think that I work hard, probably not as hard as some people in this team. But I think I'm determined. You know, I'm determined to get this team back to where I'd like it to be.
So lots still to come, but for those of you who couldn't cope with the 3 a.m. start for the practice sessions today, a little earlier, Karun Chandhok and David Croft took to the Skypad to talk us through what happened.
Well, it was great to get back to business after all the talk of Red Bull in the last few weeks. At least we can talk about them on the track today. But just before we do, as a driver, how would you feel, Karun, going into the first practice session after that Malaysian Grand Prix?
Relieved, I think. I think they've spent so much time just talking about all of this. They really just want to get their helmets on, get in the car, and get on with the job.
And talking of helmets, Helmut Marko, as you can see, in conversation with Sebastian Vettel, as we look at the highlights from the first practice session and the second practice session, it was kind of all smiles and a usual discussion between those two. Mark Webber on his own in his car on the other side of the garage. On his own as well, Ma Qinghua, first Chinese driver ever to take part in a Chinese Grand Prix weekend. He wasn't the only one locking up tyres today or struggling for grip early on.
Yeah, it's very green track here. You know, it doesn't get used much for the rest of the year. We see Kimi Raikkonen having a little spin, Lewis Hamilton locked up a few times, as we see again here, into the hairpin. But typical first day green track.
Absolutely, that was one of two occasions Lewis Hamilton locked up and ran wide at that hairpin. He was quick, but his teammate Nico Rosberg, last year's race winner of course, picking up where he left off here in Shanghai, fastest man in the opening session. The Mercedes very much on it. As for Sergio Perez in the McLaren, well, we've seen a McLaren car in this gravel trap before, but this was at the end of a practice session, not a race.
Yes, slightly embarrassing into the first free practice session, but in the big scheme of things, not a big damage done.
He had a major moment in the second session, as we'll see in a couple of seconds' time. But there's Guido van der Garde in the Caterham at turn one, a bit too committed, and there is that moment for Sergio Perez. He was off track for a while whilst they repaired the damage, but he wasn't the only one who struggled at turn 7.
No, Adrian Sutil as well. Just the change of direction, they're catching the guys out with the rear end stability. But yeah, Felipe Massa though did really have any problems as such.
Onto the soft tyre, and the pace was there for Felipe Massa, a 1:35.3. That was very hot. Even hotter, the underside of Jenson Button's McLaren. He had a massive flat spot, massive lockup going into the hairpin, and there's the result of it.
Well, as usual, these four black things are what we're talking about a lot today. I mean, just look at the grain here on the rear of this Mercedes, and I think this is a big talking point. The soft tyre isn't going to do a lot of laps.
it's all going to be about the medium and how much you can get the race to balance the two tyres out.
On race pace, Ferrari and Mercedes and Red Bull look very, very similar, but these are the low fuel lap times. And for Felipe Massa, first time he's been quickest in a practice session since Monaco last year, which is a fair achievement for a man in form. But there's Raikkonen. Could he be a threat in qualifying as well?
I think so. I think they've got great one-lap pace. They seem to be struggling in the medium a bit more, though.
And if we just scroll down, we look at Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel just in the top 10. Disappointment for Nico Hülkenberg and also Pastor Maldonado. Sauber, Williams, a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, Williams really, they haven't been able to capitalize on the 3 weeks away, and Bottas had a lot of problems in the session. He missed a chunk of time, so we'll hear obviously from Claire Williams later in the show, and hopefully she can highlight a bit more of what's going on down there.
Yeah, and fingers crossed that they can get out of the rut that they're in at the moment. Second worst start ever to a season for the Williams team. But let's hear from some of the drivers now, starting with Mark Webber. How was his track day, and more importantly, how did he react to what his teammate was saying about him yesterday?
Mark, hi, I have to ask you, we had your interviews before we heard from Seb yesterday, so I have one further question for you on it. What was your reaction to what he said yesterday, and that he would do it all again if the situation arose?
I'm not too bothered what he says. Today was a good day for us. We had a good amount of mileage, which is one thing. Obviously, there's still some pretty quick cars out there, so nothing unusual there for what we've seen early in the championship.
I seem to struggle a little bit more this afternoon. The gap to the guys at the top is a little bit bigger than I'd like to, but yeah, I think we have 2-3 things that we need to work on, and then we should be in better shape tomorrow.
Yeah. The medium tire, okay, though the soft seemed to be very extreme.
The soft is hardcore. I mean, I don't know why it doesn't feel like the right tire for this circuit. I mean, I did a couple of laps and the tires just disintegrated. It was quite unusual.
The first lap's great. I mean, on new tires, it's feels like a great race tire. It's a great qualifying tire. It's just really nice to drive. And then as soon as you try and push for another lap, it's gone. You know, you've grained the fronts, grained the rears. I think most people are struggling with front graining, and that's what we're struggling with. I did, I think in total 12 laps on that tire, or no, 13 laps on the tire. And I said to the guys, should we pit this lap? And they said, yeah, pit this lap. Got to the breaking point of turn 14 and locked up the front left, and it basically punctured a hole in the tire and ripped it to shreds. So it was the right lap to stop on, and it's a good job that corner is just before the pits as well.
I don't think it changes the strategy through qualifying, but in the race, surely we won't see yeah, that many stints on the soft, I guess. The tires didn't last, the soft tires didn't last very well today. In fact, not very long at all, so we'll see what we can do, but for qualifying, I think is still the very preferred tire.
Okay, so Sebastian Vettel certainly got his fans around here. I was amused by Mark Webber's response to Rachel's questions. I don't care what he says. They so hate each other. I know Christian Horner has to say that they don't. But on the tyre point, let's move it on finally. He's right, though, and they're all right, because they're actually looking at a tyre that can only do, what, 10 laps, 15 at the most?
Max.
Is that a bit too hardcore, as Lewis Hamilton would say?
It is in one regard. It is a Friday, Ted. I think we know. It's going to rubber up. It's going to change come Sunday. I don't think we're going to have a massive change. The one car that looks very good is that Ferrari. When you're on board with Felipe Massa, they look very, very clean, but you're still going to have to look after them, that is for sure.
Okay, well, let's hear from Lewis on his team radio earlier today.
I've never seen the tyres behave this way. And other people have the same degradation.
A firm Lewis, very similar lap profile to Nico.
Lap profile. I heard that earlier, and I still don't know what it means. But okay, well, let's say that we have to get off the soft tyre as soon as possible. How then is it going to affect strategy? Because we're seeing 3 teams, as you say, in it: Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull. And even going a lap longer could make the difference between winning and losing here. Yeah, it's so tight.
And I think this is going to be the thing definitely come Sunday. I think it's going to be one of the tightest that we've seen. From what Lewis is saying, and even the degradation variation that they're saying on Nico as well. They do seem to be sort of on the hard side, to be perfectly honest. So they're going to have to change a few things to get that sort of either balance for one thing, or somehow get it so the car is actually less hard on the tyre. We're going to have to see if they can actually do that or not. But it is going to be damn tight.
Well, someone who had a great day was Felipe Massa. Are you surprised? I mean, his own engineer seemed to be. Let's have a look at these pictures. Quickest in free practice too.
Because they've been so easy on their tyres.
Well, exactly, Ted. As I was saying, when you look at his tyre, and you actually look at the way he's driving the car, you look at the ride of the car, I think that's always a bit of a sign as well. The ride looks very, very good. It looks very, very consistent at the same time. When do you need that? You need that on Sunday, and that could be a very good sign for them. But I think if you watch it here, this is going towards basically turn into 13, actually 12 and 13. Yep. But it's so smooth, and it's just a very, very drivable car.
Well, McLaren's Sergio Perez had a tough day, and Rachel Brooks spoke to him a little earlier on.
Yes, very pleased. I'm joined by Checo right now. And Checo, we heard on the radio a moment at turn 8. What did happen for you today in the car?
Well, it was a very difficult day for me and for the team. A lot of changes on the car between practices, and it made it very difficult to take the maximum out of today. I think we have learned quite a lot, and we don't really know what happened. I came into turn 8 and suddenly I lost the rear end of the car. I went to the gravel, I did some damage to the car. So then we had to skip that run on the prime, and we went straight for the soft tire, which made it very difficult because it was my only first run on the tire, and I had only one lap the whole day to try to do the lap time and to try to learn from the car. So it has been a very difficult day for us, but I'm very confident tomorrow we will be in the Q3.
You've got a lot of upgrades here. Are they working, and what can you hope and expect to get out of this weekend?
I mean, we bring some updates here, but nothing big. We were not expecting something big to happen, but I think definitely we can be competitive for tomorrow. The target are still the same, hasn't changed, which is to score some points, is where we are at the moment, and this is only bringing us into the right direction for Barcelona, where we are bringing the big update.
All right. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. And so, Checo Perez, Sergio thinks he can make it into Q3.
Yeah, surprised by that?
Well, I'm surprised. He didn't have exactly an easy day today, did he? He's lost a lot of track time, but again, he's got sort of Jensen's data, but he's going to have to start to up his game in a way to get into that position for sure.
Okay, thanks, Johnny. Well, coming up, we'll be hearing from the F1 Media Centre's finest on the Red Bull drivers rowing, and that's after our favourite part of the show. It's Kimi Räikkönen's Quote of the Week.
Have you got lots of new bits to try on Friday here?
I don't know.
Welcome back to the F1 show in a rather chilly Shanghai pit lane. Now, as we've been saying, we've been talking about it for the last 3 weeks. The F1 Media Centre have been writing about it, and last night David Croft headed down to the Shanghai Riverside to discuss all things Red Bull with two fine journalists, Johnny Noble and Kevin Easton.
Well, gentlemen, welcome to our beautiful riverside view this evening. I think it's a good place to sit and reflect on what has been a very hot and eventful couple of days in the paddock. Red Bull come to China, should be celebrating the scene of their first ever victory, but instead we get a bullfight in a China shop.
They've left Malaysia, 1-2 finish. It should be, a fantastic kickstart the championship. Instead, it's a team in, semi-turmoil. Vettel and Webber, it's now open warfare between them effectively. Neither trusts the other one. It's game on for a very interesting time, I think.
There's certainly, a lot of heat being generated in that motorhome at the moment, and I wouldn't like to be Christian Horner because somebody's going to have to be referee, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to work because it doesn't seem as though the referee's in control either. So I think, turbulent times ahead.
Well, where there's no trust whatsoever, how do you have a fruitful, productive relationship in the future? I don't understand how they can move forward until they trust each other.
Worse than that, how do you run a team where the two drivers don't trust each other and the team principal has no idea whether what he says will be obeyed by either? it just seems to be anarchy as far as I can see.
But, you know, Mark Webber, he's not a stupid man. He's not going to go out looking for trouble, but he's going to be in a position where he can't just play second fiddle. You know, that's not in a racing driver's makeup. It's not their instinct to do that.
Well, the die is already cast, isn't it? I mean, the trouble is now that it's almost as though he's being challenged to take this on, because when they find themselves in this position, or reversed, and Webber's given the opportunity to overtake, everybody's going to think he's a wimp if he doesn't do it.
What do we think of the modern Sebastian? 1
second to say no man should be bigger than the team. I'm sorry that I put myself in that situation. But then say, but if it happened again, I would do it. Shows he's bigger than the team. And the fact he'll go and ignore team orders show that basically he's effectively in control now, that he does what he wants when he wants it, and he'll win how he wants to win.
He's been this sort of cast in this role as the, you know, Mr. Cherubic, chummy, everybody loves him little character, and then suddenly he's shown this spine of steel and this ruthless streak. Maybe this is the point where it flips, and will Sebastian end up like Michael with multiple championships, but people in the future will say, yeah, but he always had the best car and he cheated and he was horrible, and suddenly it's all changed, and that image change could be quite crucial to his future, and I wonder if he's prepared for all of that stuff.
Moving from Red Bull onto Mercedes, though, who had their own team orders and they were obeyed and they were listened to. Ross Brawn, did he come out with total credit from Malaysia?
Well, this is where I draw a contrast between Christian Horner and Ross. When he cracked that whip, the two guys jumped. All right, you know, Nico wanted to ask the question, but he knew where his place in the team was, and he got on with it, and he knows he's got payback. He knows he's got one now somewhere in the barrel of the gun, so when he needs it, it'll be there for him.
I think it was important Nico showed he wasn't unhappy in Malaysia. I think if he'd come out of the car being, oh, well, that's fine, I'll accept it, I just did what the team was. I think it was important, you know, he complained on the radio, it's important he made a point afterwards. You know, his reputation is growing, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Where are the others in this? The Lotus we saw in Australia, is that the real Lotus, or is it the Malaysian Lotus that we saw? The McLaren we saw in Malaysia, is that now the real McLaren, or is it the one in Australia? You know, where's the pecking order here?
I just have a funny feeling about the McLaren comeback. I don't know, I've just got to... just stuff happens in sport, doesn't it? Where you write people off, you know, tennis players, cricket teams, football teams, and suddenly, bang, they're in there and they've got the trophy.
You know, I think Lotus is up there, but again, Malaysia, they underperformed. Kimi said on Thursday that, you know, they think they've made a wrong setup direction, so I think Lotus can get up there. Then I think it's Mercedes and Ferrari seem to be neck and neck. The Red Bulls, you know, is the fastest car. He's on form and he's determined to, you know, destroy Mark Webber now. There's no love lost there between them at all going forwards. But I think Kimi would still be a fan's popular choice, and if he can repeat what he did in Australia, you know, there is pace in that car and the tyre degradation is better, you know, he could well be up there.
We'll drink to an exciting China.
Yeah.
Happy 10 years, and we'll see you by a riverbank soon, boys. And
yeah, can we make it a warmer one with some cocoa or
some
something?
sunshine would be nice, I think.
Good.
Journalists having a drink, who would have thought?
Yeah, indeed. Anarchy, warfare, I mean, are they strong words? They're pretty strong words there. Is it as bad as that?
I think they're the right words, yes. I think it is as bad as that, because they're not really talking to each other. They're not talking about each other. And I think that's where it's going to be out-and-out war at the end of the day. And I hope it goes from Sebastian and war and Mark war. And I hope Mark does sort of actually go to war with Sebastian, because I think it would be good for him. This may be, his last chance of a championship.
What I think is also interesting, we haven't actually discussed yet, but we will do on the rest of our programmes throughout the weekend, is where Mark Webber goes next. I think he must have decided that, you know, even though he can trust the team to do the right thing, it's deteriorated the relationship so far now with Sebastian that he just can't trust him, and maybe he doesn't want another year of this, or does he?
Well, again, I think I read something recently that he was talking about maybe extending it. So I think he knows his place. He's always known the situation that he's in, but it's where he moves to if he has a chance of moving. There was always the Ferrari rumours that were going on. That didn't come off.
They might do. He could still go to Ferrari if they don't decide to keep Massa.
Exactly, but that's not looking so maybe such a good thing at the moment. So for Mark, I know it's a difficult situation, but to be able to move forward, what do? You have to go out there and beat your teammate. That's what he's going to have to do.
Okay, thanks, Johnny. Well, there's plenty of other stories around the paddock, aside from Red Bull, especially given the 3-week break. Here's Detective Brooks with her findings.
Fernando Alonso's Malaysian Grand Prix started with a kiss as he ran into the back of Sebastian Vettel. And it ended less than a lap later, after a decision to stay out with a damaged front wing.
We regret to have the contact in the second corner. I think stopping or not stopping, at the end of the day, the damage was already done because the real problem was the contact in the second corner. So we will try to be more careful, take a little bit more margin, and hopefully not happen again.
Lotus's win in Australia seemed a distant memory as both drivers found their cars very different on Saturday and Sunday to what they'd driven on Friday.
On Saturday, if we found the issues or not, so I mean, it's more to do with the setup and nothing else in the car.
Nico Hulkenberg didn't race in Australia, and it appeared his first time out in his Sauber was a frustrating experience.
I don't know where to start with so many things to improve. I don't have to explain about the radio, I think. That is unacceptable.
I was not frustrated. I think somebody interpreted what I said a bit wrong, and it was not about the whole performance of the car, just to clarify that one. But we were certainly, even without that point, not happy with the car, how it's performing, and we're not where we want to be.
Force India retired both their cars in Malaysia as the captive wheel-nut system failed in the heat and humidity. But the cooler temperatures in China should put paid to any reoccurrence.
We don't fully understand it, I think, and I don't think you ever will. The only thing is to fix the problem, and we think we have done. All I can say is the people are working hard, and I have every confidence in the team that they'll fix it.
McLaren have had their worst start to a season since the year 2000, so we're looking to big upgrades here in China to get their campaign back on track. So Sam, updates for China, what have you brought with you?
We've got a range of parts. We've got parts that we had planned already for the normal development of the car, and also some parts that we've brought along early than usual to investigate where we can sort of unlock some more performance out of this car.
Jenson thought the car was looking pretty good had he not had the problem, looking at fifth, possibly even higher at the end of that race. What are your hopes and expectations for this weekend?
Well, he's right. I mean, we had a solid fifth and perhaps could have fought for higher positions. Obviously, Alonso was out of the race, but either way, we were much better than where we were in Melbourne. Still not where we want to be. Expectations here is just to keep improving. I think we're still on a curve, and there won't be any sort of overnight fixes. It'll always take lots of little things, but we're doing lots of little things, and they're all adding up. So expectations here is just to keep improving and take a step up from where we were in Malaysia.
Just to reiterate, before we get into the weekend, Sebastian Vettel leads the Drivers' Championship by 9 points from Kimi Raikkonen. Mark Webber, 5 points behind him, followed by Lewis Hamilton, and then the 2 Ferrari drivers. In terms of the constructors, following those maximum points in Malaysia, Red Bull have a 26-point advantage over Lotus and Ferrari. We just heard from Sam Michael there. McLaren only on 4 points, and that's 51 points fewer than at this stage last year.
But they've brought new front brake ducts here. They've brought, new bodywork, new exhaust profiles as well. They seem to be getting there slowly, but the championship's going to be gone by the time they catch up, isn't it?
I think so, yes. I think it's going to be a hard thing for them to come back from this. They may get themselves in a position of fighting for podiums and wins, but I think we're still a long way from that.
I mean, I can't believe that, because we've seen how things were so topsy-turvy last year and totally unpredictable. Surely they can turn things round.
No, with 4 points now after 2 races, it's gone. Surely.
Come on, I'll have a little wager with you now.
I'll
Force
take
India.
that.
Will you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, done.
McLaren not going to win either championship now.
No.
Okay. Right, Force India.
Yes.
Paul di Resta.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, again, Paul, he had a good showing in Malaysia. He can sort of take from that the positives, use that here this weekend. And there's no reason that he can't take it to Adrian Sutil, who everybody's sort of been talking about since his comeback. But he has a chance. He's got the talent. He just needs to apply it. And I think he will this weekend and go on stronger for the rest of the year.
OK, thanks, Johnny. Well, in Melbourne, we asked Paul di Resta to choose between 2 Scottish greats, Jim Clark and Sir Jackie Stewart, and quite simply, he couldn't do it. Last weekend marked the 45-year anniversary of Jim Clark's death. He was a revered racer, and this was his last win.
Jim Clark waits to occupy his customary pole position. The 2 Jacks, Brabham and Stewart, are still nose to tail.
Johannesburg, where 23 of the world's leading drivers got away to a brisk start in the South African Grand Prix. Number 16, Jackie Stewart, took the lead in the first lap as the Formula One cars tore down the straight at over 170 miles an hour. Jim Clark, number 4, in a Lotus Ford, was quick to snatch the lead in the second lap and kept ahead all the way. His speed was a record average, and he set up a track record too. Heat was a problem with the temperature at 130, a burst oil pipe, and Jackie Stewart is off the track. Jack Brabham becomes a spectator too after his Repco Brabham broke down. Now it's Graham Hill, number 5, moving up to second place as Jim Clark romps home to his 25th Grand Prix win.
He gave you trouble?
Well, it was very warm indeed, and my feet, I don't know if I can stand yet until I get out of the car.
Your feet are very warm,
blistered, yeah.
Doesn't this give you more Grand Prix wins than anybody else has done in the world yet?
That's true.
Congratulations, Jim. This is an absolutely splendid effort.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome back to the F1 show, and now to Williams, who have such a strong history in the sport. Yesterday, I caught up with Claire Williams as she reflected on what's been a challenging few weeks for her after the passing of her mother, Ginny, and as she took on the new role of Deputy Team Principal.
It has been difficult. It's been difficult for the family and, you know, for the team as well to a certain extent. But, you know, they say that work sometimes is the best medicine. So I think maybe this whole Deputy Team Principal business that's come along has been quite a good distraction. So I'm fine. Thank you.
Tell us about that responsibility and the step up to this very swanky new title. I mean, obviously, it's been in the making for some time for you. It's something that you've talked about for a couple of years. What has taken you to that point, and what preparation have you done, if you like, in the last 18 months or so?
When Toto made his decision to leave to Mercedes, I think it was somewhat felt that there had been a bit of instability within the team, and we needed some stability. So it was discussed amongst the board as to what the best solution would be. And because I've been at Williams for a long time and I've got the experience and I know the team, I think it may have been felt that maybe this was the solution that would bring a bit of stability back to us.
Let's just rewind slightly and talk about how you first started at Williams.
I'd always worked at Williams during my school holidays, just filling in the travel office with our team manager Dickie and helping out booking the boys' flights and stuff. So when I lost my job, I didn't want to just sit at home and just search from the sofa. So I thought, well, I'll go and make myself useful at Williams and help out a bit because they were busy at the time, which I did. And then one day I got a call from our then head of marketing, Jim Wright, who said, press officer's just handed her notice and I'd like you to do the job. And I kind of said, you are crazy. Have you asked Dad? And he went, no, I haven't spoken to him yet. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, you go phone him and then call me back and let me know what he said. And sure enough, he phoned and said, within about 5 minutes, called me back and said, yeah, your father said no way. So
just a purely anti-nepotism thing?
Yeah, purely. He'd got my older brother working there already. He'd worked there for a long time. And I think he felt that it wasn't right having another one of his children working and running around the business, which was absolutely fine. I had no aspirations anyway to work at Williams. It wasn't something that was on the cards because I knew and understood Frank's or Dad's, feelings on the matter, and I accepted that. And it's right, no father wants their children running around their company. After a good few weeks, he changed his mind, and here I am today, 10 years later, 11 years later.
It's interesting because it's the first time I've heard you refer to Frank as Dad. Is that a kind of conscious early decision that you wanted that kind of professionalism that you do always call him Frank?
You have to cut a fine line, but I do think it's important and it's more professional to call him Frank in the workplace for everybody else's comfort as much as my own.
And tell us a bit about Frank in terms of being the boss, and describe his work ethic.
He works his socks off. He always has for Williams. He's had a goal and he's had a dream, and you can't achieve your dreams in life if you don't put in that effort. And he's been very clear in his ambitions, and he's worked hard to achieve where he's got to today.
And what about your own characteristics? What do you get from your mum and your dad?
Gosh, it's always difficult to say, isn't it? You think, other people should judge you on your own, traits like that. But I'd like to think that I've inherited Dad's work ethic. I think I work hard. I'd like to think that I work hard, probably not as hard as some people in this team. But I think I'm determined. I'm determined to get this team back to where I'd like it to be.
What's the response, do you think, to being a woman in the paddock?
Monisha started the trend when she took over as team principal of Sauber, and I think it's great that there are more women, but I'm always of the firm opinion that you succeed based on merit rather than gender. I think that's really important. But I think that if more women take these kinds of positions in the sport, I think it can only be a positive thing.
As always, lovely to talk to you, Claire. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Yep, fantastic news for Claire, and great to see another discipline, because Monisha Kaltenborn is a lawyer, but Claire comes from the marketing commercial background. Great to see her getting those, bringing those attributes and into a high echelon of Formula One.
She's determined, she's hardworking, and crucially, she's passionate. I mean, she's lived and breathed this team since childhood, hasn't she?
Exactly, and she has that little bit of ethics that Sir Frank has. I think we were going to have a very, very long future with Claire in Formula One, because what Frank has done has been absolutely amazing from his very early days, and I think Claire is a great choice for the team.
And it was interesting, actually, because she said she had a probation period growing up through Williams that was longer than anyone else's. She really had to prove herself, anti-nepotism.
Well, they have to make the car quicker at the moment, and what Claire will be absolutely sure to do, I'm sure, is to only spend money with things that make the car go faster, but they need to get on with it, because no points so far.
Yeah, well, at the moment, the way this car seems to respond, it seems to have a lot of understeer, a lot of push, and then this horrible flick drift that they seem to get on the exit of the corner. So there's a lot of work they've got to do, and it looks as if, once again, its aerodynamics are the key.
Yeah, OK, well, Pastor Maldonado not throwing it off the road is quite key as well. So Valtteri Bottas as well here at Williams, and we decided to test their hand-eye coordination, their strategy and their guile in our F1 show game, the Horsepower Tower.
So it's that time again, Horsepower Tower. This week, the Williams boys. So, do you know how to play this game?
No. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I've played with the little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell them how to play.
And
Pretty good. Pretty good.
And the winner is when the other one falls, when everything goes down. The other one.
So the trick is not to knock it down.
Yeah.
Okay? Who wants to go first? Paper, scissors, stones.
But you stand from the bottom.
No, you can go from
anywhere.
wherever you like.
Anywhere.
We do paper, scissors, stone to see who starts. Do you know how to play that?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, interesting. Gone for his teammate.
So,
very good.
be happy
Very good.
that it's
Okay.
like that.
One down.
Otherwise it's
55 to go. Perez joins Bottas at the front of the grid. Okay, can we speed this up a bit?
Yeah.
Any danger? We need to update that picture of him now. He's had all his hair cut off.
No, you,
I'm not budging. Now, you see, this would really excite Ted, being between Prost and Webber. Pastor, you know, if you do knock it down, it goes in the water. You have to go in after it.
Yeah. You go for me.
There goes Alonso. The boys love that. No pressure, but you've now got a big audience. Oh! Very good. Oh, look at that concentration. You might want to push Surtees back in a bit. Oh! Oh, it's gone in! Oh, no! It has gone in. Who is it? Who's floating?
Fish it. Fish it.
Come on, come on, come on.
It's impossible.
No, it's not. Where's the boat, Joe? There's no oar. Schumacher has to sink. Sorry, Michael.
Oh, why does it have to be Schumacher? You think you've got rid of him and then he comes back.
I saved him.
I
saved
him.
him.
Well
Where'd you get
done.
that block
Hey,
from?
I went for a little swim
Did
earlier
you?
on. Yes.
Good boy, Johnny.
It's horrible in there.
It is a bit.
Good. So the winners so far, of course, Bottas, Pick and Max Chilton. Pastor Maldonado joins us fresh out of the briefing. Hello, welcome, come in.
Thank you.
How has today been?
A bit difficult, but we done all of our test plan for today, so quite happy for that, without any problems in the car. We are trying to understand the new parts, and yeah, we've been right now working on it, on the analysis of the data, and looking forward for tomorrow.
It's been a topsy-turvy few weeks for you, though. I mean, the car showed so much promise in testing, and then you went on to describe it as undrivable. What needs to happen?
Yeah, a bit disappointing. We lost a lot of performance in general, but we are working very hard. You know, we've been these couple of weeks without stopping any day. You know, full time working on the wind tunnel, trying to fix the problem. Now we fix the problems, and we are working on the solutions.
Well, obviously, after last season, great win that you had in Barcelona last year. How do you deal with the situation that you've got at the moment? I know you've got to work closely with your engineer and the design team to get it, but what are you looking for to get this car back on track?
It's always very difficult, you know, because you have many facts to put together. But yeah, I'm trying to stay calm, you know, to stay unit to the team. It's a hard time, you know, for everyone here, but we are looking forward. We cannot look rearwards. We need to be focused on the future, and hopefully soon we will have the solution. I'm 100% sure on it.
You came here with 3 different separate types of front wing that you were trying out. Must be a record. Have you decided which one you're going to run?
Yeah, we decide we will run the new one, which is better. I think this is the way to follow. And hopefully it should be much better tomorrow with less fuel during the qualifying.
Okay. So I guess that sounds like aerodynamics then, doesn't it? That one?
I got very excited about your winglets, I have to say, Pastor.
I love a good winglet. And just quickly, do you expect to make it into Q2 solidly? And might that be an advantage if you get to start on whatever tyre you want?
I think the real performance of the car is for sure Q2. You know, with a little bit of luck, we can get there, but I think to be honest should be very difficult to be in the top 10 for this weekend. We need some time. I think for Barcelona, maybe hopefully should be good as last year. Hopefully. Okay. And the best thing of this weekend is to try to get the 100% of what we have. And I think it should be around P12, something like that. So
okay, thank you
finger
very much.
crossed for this.
Good luck. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Okay, here's what's coming up on Sky Sports F1 over the weekend.
My intention, for sure, if you look at it as a racing driver, is to win the race. So I don't apologize, you know, for winning the race.
The memories that I have on it, that's what I like most. It's not necessarily that I like the track more than anything else. I just have really good memories here, and I've always gone well here, so somehow it suits me.
I'm getting dizzy looking at that screen. Do you not find it? Do you not get a little bit dizzy looking at that screen?
You've got motor and generator, cable, and a big battery. So, plenty coming up, including that fascinating piece with me talking about cables. 3:45 a.m. for practice 3, 6 a.m. for qualifying, and 6:30 a.m. for the race on Sunday. Let's see if Nico Rosberg can make it 2 in a row. Can he? Who do you think is going to be on pole? First of all, a Mercedes?
I think that Mercedes is looking pretty handy, and I think Nico is very good around here, and I think he can utilise that performance to, I think, get that pole.
Okay, Johnny?
Massa for pole.
Pasta for pole, not a chance.
Massa.
Thank you. Oh, Massa,
Pasta.
okay. Well, it's going to be very, very close tomorrow. Thank heavens there aren't any team orders in qualifying. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
can do about it. Won't love